Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Hack. In today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. It's going to be a solo dungeon run on my hybrid Dragon Knight. I'm here in Fungal Grotto 1. This is the veteran version of the dungeon. Never done a veteran dungeon on any of my hybrid builds, so I thought I would record a video of me going through. I want to explain how the build works, how it functions, and then give some tips and tricks for those of you who are looking to solo dungeons, even veteran dungeons in the Elder Scrolls Online. So I think this will be pretty fun. I'm going to bypass most of the trash pulls, and I'm going to focus on the 5 boss fights, as well as tactics for those and any shortcuts that I come across along the way. So here we go. Before we get started, the build is the solo hybrid Dragon Knight that I put out on my channel just a week or so ago. So this is a mixture of stamina-based and magicka-based Dragon Knight skills on a Dark Elf Dragon Knight, so it's basically a hybrid build. Front bar is a 2-hand, back bar is a flame staff. Using the Pelinals set, as well as Warrior's Fury, and then I'm using the Grothdar Monster Helm. Real quick abilities in case you're curious. Front bar, we've got Reverse Slice, Brawler, Cauterize, Dizzy Swing. We've got Searing Strike for the heal, as well as the Undo Ultimate. Back bar Flame Staff, we've got Noxious Breath, Wall of Fire, Elemental Drain, Molten Armaments, Volatile Armor, and then the Dragon Leap. Forgetting the name at the moment. It's the Magicka Morph of Dragon Leap, which gives you a juicy damage shield. And so far, I've really enjoyed this build, you guys. It's probably my favorite build that I've played in a while. The fact that it's hybrid is really interesting. It makes it more challenging to play, I think, and you have to think about what you're doing. You have to manage your resources really well. I like that I can, if I'm getting low on one resource, I can spam abilities from the other resource until my resources even out, and then I can always pop my ultimate to get a lot of sustain back. So it's been really fun to play and challenging. So we're jumping into the first boss fight here. This is the veteran rank dungeon, so the bosses do have more hit points. They do hit harder. Same thing for the trash mobs as well. And what I'm going to do on all the boss fights is really just take out any adds first. They do substantial damage since it is veteran level, so I want to take them out as quickly as possible. And then once they're down, I want to focus on the final boss and get my rotation and my buffs down. So I got everything else down. I'm going to make sure I have my buffs up, my armor, my LE Drain. I'm just going to apply those dots. Once I have those down, I can switch to the front bar, do a couple of dizzy swings, do some good damage, get my Searing Strike up, and then on the back bar, just apply my dots. If I need to sustain, I can always use my Dragon Leap. That's a great source of sustain on the build. You can see it's getting pretty low, so I'm going to prep to get into execute mode here. A couple of dizzy swings just so I can get that nice heavy attack right there, get some stamina sustain. And he's really in execute range, so I'm just going to put my ground, my AoE dots, and go into reverse slice here to finish him off. Piece of cake. Second boss is pretty easy as well, even on the veteran setting. So he has 2 kind of pesky helpers here that you want to get down first. These guys are Dragon Knights, I believe, because they put down like a standard, which you want to make sure you stay out of because it's going to do substantial damage to you. But I also, on this build, I try to pop my ultimate early. That's because it gives me a really huge damage shield, which lets me fight through those adds, get them down, and then just focus on the boss, which I'm able to do now. This boss is fairly easy for being a veteran rank. He doesn't do a ton of damage. Even his heavy attacks and his special boss abilities don't really hit for much. So this is a great boss just to practice on. Practice your rotation, practice keeping your buffs up. That's what happened right there with the red circle. That's one of the big attacks, and it does pretty low damage on this build. Of course, I am pretty well armored. I also have minor protection on the front bar. Have my Psijic Order damage shield, so this build is very tanky as well. So that definitely does help. You can see when I block there, I get that extra damage shield from the Psijic Order passive. I'm just going to make sure I maintain my dots That's Wall of Fire, that's Noxious Breath, that's Searing Strike on the front bar. Then once those are down, I'm going into Dizzy Swing spam, and that's just going to burn a little bit of stamina, and then just go back to your buffs. Keep up your armor, keep up Ellie Drain, and you can see I'm taking very little damage on this build. Just make sure you block his heavy attack so you don't get stunned. And then right there, I was losing a bit of resources. I had my leap up, so why not? I'm going to use that and then go right into executes. A great strategy on this build is wait for that leap to go into execute mode because you'll have a nice damage shield on top of your health. And keeping up those executes, I throw in a couple brawlers as well as a cauterize to help maintain my health while I'm doing executes as well. And there you have it. The War Chief is down as well. Grab his head and put it on a spike. Why not? That's part of the quest line here. Boom. So next we're moving into the big part of the cave, and I just want to point out very quickly that there is a shortcut here. If you jump off the waterfall, you can avoid the last couple boss fights. So you might see that if you're in a group, for example, your group might want to skip them and go straight to the end. But I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to show you every single boss fight, everything else that's interesting in this dungeon. A couple of bridges up here. Go ahead and play Leapfrog with your goblin buddies. And then something we'll see for the rest of the dungeon is these swarming mud crabs everywhere. There's just tons of them that come at you in a wave, like probably 10 to 12 of these guys. They don't do a lot of damage by themselves, but when they stack up against you on veteran mode, they can take your health down a bit. So make sure you get your AoEs down, your Wall of Fire, your Noxious Breath, whatever AoEs you have. Brawler is going to be excellent as well because you get the bonus damage shield for each enemy that you hit. So my friends are going to abandon me. They're going to skip this boss, but I wanted to show this one. This is actually my most feared boss in Fungal Grotto. That's because it just hits super hard. Especially with his two little buddies here. So same strategy as usual. I'm going to burn my ultimate right away to get my damage shield. And I'm going to focus on those two adds because they hit pretty hard as well. And I'm going to play this extremely conservatively. I'm going to use Brawler a lot. I'm going to keep that damage shield up as much as possible. You can see my health dropped almost to like 20%. In just about a second. That's because I was on my back bar where I don't have Brawler. So keep Brawler up and then keep down your Wall of Fire and your Noxious Breath or whatever dots you have just to burn them down with dots, and when they get low, Reverse Slice is going to take care of them. Of course, make sure you have Searing Strike on them as well for that quick burst heal when you need it. So you can see I'm really low on resources, but I almost have my ultimate. I can go front bar and do a couple of dizzy swings with off balance, some heavy attacks to sustain. That'll get my stamina up, but of course I have the leap on the back bar. That gives me sustain in all three pools, which is really nice about playing a solo DK. I have a pretty good shield, so I'm going to spam dizzy swing, do some good single target damage before I go back, reset my dots, reset my buffs, make sure my claw is on, and then same thing. Once you have that dizzy swing up, do a couple heavy attacks, get some stamina back, so those dizzy swings basically become free with all the stamina sustain you get back from that. Keep your rotation down, keep it solid, keep your buffs up, and once you get settled here, the boss is not too bad. Coming up to our last set of bridges, more mud crabs. We got twice the amount of mud crabs here. Remember to put down your AoEs. If you have Brawler, Brawler is a huge help on these guys. They don't have much health, so they go down pretty fast. We're up to the second to last boss. Clatterclaw is really easy. This is another great boss to practice on. The main mechanic here is he just summons the swarming mud crabs every few seconds. You can see there they come back again. So as soon as they come back, I switch to my back bar, put down my dots, and then hit them with a brawler. That'll give me a huge damage shield, and of course they should die to the dots pretty quickly. When he's by himself, you can just focus on single target pressure. Make sure your Searing Strike is up, hit him with a few dizzy swings. And that's pretty much the rotation. He'll summon more swarming mud crabs. You'll put down your dots. Of course, make sure your buffs are up, and then once the mud crabs are down, go ahead and go back into that single target dizzy swing spam. Remember, you can use reverse slice on these mud crabs as well, because that splash damage will end up hitting the boss too, so that's great. That's all for Clatterclaw. So we're on to Krog, the big boy boss for Fungal Grotto. His mechanics are very predictable, just like the last boss. The main thing you have to worry about is that huge AoE that expands on the ground. The color of my AoEs here, it's pretty dark to see on my UI right now. But the other hint is that all the air around him gets dark at the same time. So as soon as you see your screen start to get dark, you want to move back out. You can also roll dodge out. You need to get out quickly. Now, other than that, I'm going to make sure I maintain my buffs, my armor, my Ellie Drain, and then my dots. On the front bar, you want to make sure your claw is always on him, because that's going to provide that quick burst heal. Brawler is also going to be important. You want to keep a Brawler shield up as much as you can, though it won't last long on this guy because he does hit hard. But a quick Brawler followed by a Cauterize is going to help you if your health is getting low. And watch out for his channeled attack that can do some pretty nasty damage, so you can block that as well. When he's off balance, of course, make sure you swing a big two-hand heavy attack there to get some extra stamina sustain. Little trick here with the DK is if you are moving out to avoid the red AoE and you have leap, just leap back in. It's kind of a fun way to get back into it with him. And here we come up to the first ad wave. Luckily, those crabs have like very little health. They go down super quick. Now here I actually take the AoE. You can see it gets me down pretty low health, but the trick here is just to claw him right away. That's basically the same as a rally burst heal. It should max your health out. Make sure you block that heavy. Look for the lines which signal a heavy attack is on the way. There's another red AoE. I managed to roll dodge out of that. Hitting him with my dots again, making sure my buffs are up. Claw needs to be up, and then dizzy swing time. Can hit a couple dizzy swings into a heavy attack for that juicy sustain. Another red AoE, I roll dodge out right back into a leap, so I'm back into it, into more dizzy swings. Block that channel, and then make sure my dots are up. You can see I get another roll dodge out. Now here we get to the second ad wave. Same as the first. He's going to spawn more crabs on the ground, so just plop down a couple of AoEs and then make use of your Brawler, and then Executioner takes care of him, no problem. I got low stam, so I'm going to make sure I hit him with a dizzy swing into a heavy attack. Get some stamina back. I also have my ultimate ready to go. So I wait till I actually am low health, low magicka, and low stamina to pop it. That way I get the most resources back as possible. There you can see I was also able to just block through the AoE. That's because I had that giant damage shield from Leap. I also have the Sigic Order damage shield on the front bar, plus Brawler. If you have all of those up, you can block your way through it. That will help keep you alive. If you don't have that, you definitely want to roll dodge away. My health is low, so I slam a brawler along with a cauterize, get that healing up. My resources are low, so another leap. And then just as the AoE comes, so I can block that, I can make use of my damage shield. And then he is low, so I'm going to start executing here. But you want to keep your dots up because there's plenty of health on this boss. Front bar, get a brawler, a couple of heavy attacks. Make sure my stamina is good, and then more executes until he's down. And there you go, Fungal Grotto 1. Never done it on a hybrid build, never done it on this build. And it was not bad. The last boss fight is a little bit intense. It's pretty fun on the DK, and also very doable as long as you have your rotation down, you have your buffs down, and your dots. You are good to go. I'm gonna clean up the quest here. Why not? Soloing is a great way to explore just some of the dungeons and some of the quests that if you're in a group, sometimes you'll be going too fast to really appreciate them. So soloing is a great way to do that if you have a solo build. So anyways, that's going to wrap up this video on soloing veteran dungeons on the hybrid. If you guys like the video, of course, don't forget to crush that like button. It really helps out the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think of this build, and if you'd like to see me solo other dungeons, maybe on this build or other builds. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. If you want me to make this a series, just let me know, and I'll do my best. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you around in the next video.